So now we are at the point where we have done some fractions of whole numbers. So we've taken a part of a whole amount. Now we're going to take a fraction of a fraction. And we're going to do this a couple of different ways. First of all, the rules that we learned when you multiply fractions times fractions are the same as when you multiply fractions times whole numbers. If you were to multiply a fraction times a whole number, you had to first turn the whole number into a fraction. And once you had fractions and you realized it was multiplying, you knew you did not need common denominators. You just multiplied straight across. And then you looked at this as a division. I have 16 1/5 pieces, so I need to take my 16 pieces, see how many whole items I can make. I can make 3 whole items. It uses up 15 pieces. I have 3 whole items, and I have 1 of those 5 pieces left over. When you have fractions times fractions, 1/2 of 1/4, you are going to multiply straight across, and you are going to end up with an even smaller fraction. Today we're going to practice why that happens. If you just want to draw this in your jotter, that's fine. If you have some scrap paper around that you can use for this as well, that would be a good idea, and then just tape them into the jotter. So here we have our one whole thing. If we're taking 1/2 of 1/4, first thing we need is to split the whole thing into 4 equal pieces. So there's 1/4, there's the second fourth, there's the third fourth, and here is the fourth fourth. Now, the fraction tells me that I just need 1 of those 4. So there is my 1/4. But now to take half of my 1/4, I've got to go back and look at this whole thing again. So it's almost nicer to just turn it the other direction and go, all right, there's the whole thing. Half of the entire thing would split it into 2 equal pieces. Of that half, I need just 1. So this time, I'm taking 1/2. Where on earth does this 1/8 come from as my answer then? Because here I've got half, here I've got fourths. Well, if you look, how many pieces, the smallest size, do you have? Well, we have 1 piece, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces that are this small size. See them there? We have 4 pieces this way, 2 pieces that way. 4 times 2 gives us 8 total pieces that are this size. So that's where the 8 pieces comes from, the total number of little teeny tiny pieces. Where does the 1/8 come from? Well, that's where you have to look back at the problem. The problem was half of 1/4. The purple showed us 1/4, but the purple and orange, I'm running out of purple. The purple with orange is what shows us 1/2 of the 1/4. This was 1/4. This is 1/2 of the 1/4. How much does that come out to be? One of these small pieces has both purple and orange in it. So 1 of the 8 pieces is the way I show half of the fourth. Okay. So now we're going to do one more example like this to take it apart with the area model. So the next one we're going to do is we will do 1/2 of 3/4. Well, you should almost be able to see the answer here. But let's think. Of means multiply. I know when I multiply fractions, I make sure everything is a fraction. And then I go straight across because I'm not adding and I'm not subtracting, so I do not need common denominators. All right, 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 4 is 8. What on earth does that look like? Well, here's my entire thing. First, I need to find 3/4. All right, well, fourths means I need to split it into 4 equal pieces. Now that they're there, you can see 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. So there are my fourths. I need to take 3 of those 4. So there's 1/4, there's 2/4. Now I have 3/4. That part is done. So I have 3/4 showing right now. Now I need half, which means I take the whole thing, split it into 2 pieces. Of those 2 pieces, I need to shade in 1. So 1 of 2 pieces in the whole thing. Only after I have my whole thing divided into fourths and halves can I look at the final answer. Where does the 8 come from? You go to the smallest pieces and you see if I have 2 rows with 4 columns in each row, that means there will be 4 pieces 2 times, giving me 8 pieces that size. Where does the 3 come from? Well, if I look back, my 3/4 were these 3 pieces. So there were 6/8 in my 3/4, but I want only the fourths where I also have half. So these are now not fourths, they are eighths because I have to count just the half of these 3/4. So where I have the double color, there are only 3 pieces out of the 8 that have both fourths and half. When you multiply with fractions, your result is going to be less than your original if you are multiplying by regular fractions. We'll get to improper fractions in a couple of days, but the nice thing is we're just working with regular fractions right now. So what I want you to do today is I want you to find the paper that I sent this week that looks like this. We'll get to the using some models and that in a little bit. This paper on the front side is some review. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. These are all review. The rest of this front side is multiplying with just fractions. But you'll notice ones like this, you have an improper fraction. So that means you'll have an extra step at the end. When you turn it over to the back, there's one more just fraction, But all the rest of these on the back then are multiplying a fraction times a whole number, which we've practiced. You're going to have 2 days to do this assignment. What I want you to do today, definitely do 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, if you don't yet feel comfortable multiplying and simplifying with fractions, flip it over and make sure that you do 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and I also want you to do 13. So even if you don't feel comfortable with the rest of these, you're doing 1 through 4, 13 through 20. That's your assignment for today. Make sure you send me the photographs. Make sure you show all of your work in the photographs. Thank you.